In this video, we're gonna do a review and taste test of illegal energy drinks. Illegal alcoholic energy drinks. These drinks are illegal in the United States because in 2010 a bunch of controversial events happened where students were hospitalized, students died, students got overdosed, students got alcohol poisoning, and as a result the FDA made moves to ban these drinks and remove them from shelves. They've essentially gave brands two choices: either you remove the caffeine from your drinks or you remove the alcohol from the drinks. The three big market players in the United States ceased to exist. One of them reformulated the drink to alcohol only. And in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about the history of the energy drink market, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Ukrainian energy drinks, and they are right here in front of you. Everybody says that alcohol and energy drinks should not mix, but the reality is they always sort of have been mixed. Every single generation has its own sort of drink that they perfected or that became a fad, and then they lived off that fad. I mean, young people have always looked for interesting ways of having fun, interesting and accessible and cheap. They have always done that. If you ask any baby boomer, like your parents or your grandparents, you ask them about what did they drink when they were young. I mean, obviously nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to set a bad example for the children, for the grandchildren. Nobody's gonna want to share that sort of information with you. However, according to historian William Warburg, he says that that's the human condition. The humans have always seeked out interesting ways of having fun. The baby boomers were the real boozy generation, the one that really liked to drink. And they're the ones that came up with the idea of even combining alcohol and energy drinks. And it's precisely why the children of baby boomers, like my peers, they got into the yoga generation, they got into health and wellness. It's because of the backlash that the 70s have gotten. I mean, if you think about Mothers Against Drunk Driving or MAD, that reached its peak in 1980s. The result of that was because a lot of people died during drunk driving incidents, and that was also because the legal age of driving and drinking as well was readjusted. Rohrberg continues that during the 70s the legal drinking age limit was lower. His compatriots, they kept drinking things like Long Island iced tea, was popularized at that time, and that was basically Diet Coke with the whole types of spirits mixed in together, and that was a drink of choice for that generation. The next big thing was vodka Red Bull, and that was, I think that was a marketing campaign by Red Bull to sort of get their products out there, and nobody really knew much about Red Bull at that point. And vodka Red Bull kind of went on under the radar because, like I said, Red Bull wasn't really popular. They didn't have that much of a pull as it did back then, but that sort of put them on the map. And then we had Four Loko and Sparks and Juice, and these drinks to try to build up where Red Bull and vodka sort of left off. And that was the next generation's drink. That was my generation's drink for those who lived in the United States at that time. At that time I was 20 years old, and I never got to experience these drinks because in Canada they never sold them. However, I was always curious about it because, you know, as a 20-year-old fun-loving, adventure-seeking guy, you know, I don't want to miss a good time. Kind of ate at me at that time because I really thought that I was missing out on something interesting. But in the end, energy drinks with alcohol started getting this notorious thing about them, especially Four Loko. It was revolting, essentially. It was a malt liquor with like some strawberry flavored, I don't know, soft drink mixed together, and apparently it was a bad combination and it didn't taste good, and nobody thought that it was good. However, the drink started appearing in various like forms of pop culture and in like memes, like things like that, and it was difficult to ignore, especially with the internet. The internet propagated everything and it amplified everything, and this notoriety just led to more and more awareness of this drink. Then came the Washington State University incident in 2010 where 9 students ended up getting hospitalized. According to the FDA, something like 30-something students died as a result of these drinks. And as a result, that gave them precedence to start banning these drinks. They started taking them off the shelf. They started giving ultimatums. And many people do to this day think that these energy drink manufacturers were used as a scapegoat. They used as a scapegoat and they got thrown under the rug as a result. Anyway, in 2011, I personally visited New York City. I thought that I will be able to get a glimpse of that pre-reformulated Four Loko that had alcohol and caffeine in it. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Anyway, when I tried that drink, it really wasn't the same. And ever since then, I was really curious about alcoholic energy drinks and what is it so horrible about them that I wasn't able to experience. And what about Ukraine? Well, in Ukraine, this whole thing is alive and well. I mean, personally, I do not recommend drinking this stuff, but this stuff is relatively cheap here in Ukraine, and I thought, well, for educational purposes, why not create this video and give you guys an idea of what energy drinks with alcohol are like in Ukraine. We're gonna start off with these two drinks called Revo. They were introduced in 2007, so they've been on the market for quite some time, and they're essentially the market leader right now. The second one is made by Obolon, and Obolon is a massive drink manufacturer here in Ukraine. It started off as a brewery back in the early 90s, and they've went into the energy drink market also, and it's also second popular one here. Now this one, I'm not sure about this one. It's called Cox, and this is a smaller producer and not nearly as big as these two. And this one is being sold in discount markets only, exclusively apparently, and I wasn't able to find it anywhere else. Anyway, so these are the three main brands. Let's start off with this one. I'm going to pour it down. It contains apparently vitamin C, vitamin B5, B6, BG, caffeine, guarana, and damiana, vitamin PP. And all in the back over here we have a bunch of warnings like do not drink too much, whatever, not for pregnant women. The alcohol content is 8% in here, 8.5, quite a lot. Second one is it's a cherry flavored. Color is the same. It's the same color. And then the next one is the Bronx. This is ironic again because the United States is all legal. However, here we have a Bronx can. Why call it Bronx? You're supposed to feel like you're in Bronx when you're drinking it. I'm not 100% sure, but this one is also 8%. It's just as much alcohol content. And this one has the least amount of alcohol. It's only 5%. So this is more like a beer or like a mixed drink. You could call it that as well. An energy drink theoretically should have not just caffeine but guarana and everything else. Well, let's first try out the Revo one. The Revo one. It's like very sweet, extremely sweet. Syrupy sweet, and I don't know, I don't really feel any alcohol. Maybe I will, but there's no aftertaste. It's just you drink it like juice almost. Strawberry kiwi with lots and lots and lots of sugar. That's how it tastes like. This one starts off the same. It smells like very cherry-like. Personally, I think this one's a little bit more interesting because at least that kind of balances out the sweetness. At first, the sweetness just hits you, and then it's all it's like drinking a cup of sugar. I understand why they make these drinks. They make these drinks for 18-year-olds so that they can stay up all night and wake up early or wake up at all and go to lecture and do their homework and then study for the exams all night. But I really can't see this being very healthy at all, especially if you want to drink more than like a few sips of this stuff. Well, let's move on to the Bronx one. It's very, 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 very similar. I seriously cannot even begin to decipher between all of these. Now there is also bubblegum, but it's a little bit more sour in the middle. Now let's go on with the last one. The last one, it tastes more like a pop. The aftertaste is more like sour and it dulls out a little bit, but it's not as sweet. There's definitely way less alcohol in here. This is more like, I would see no advantage of drinking this versus like brandy and cola stuff. But you really do feel that kick, that energy drink kick in the middle. You have to understand with these types of drinks, the caffeine masks the alcohol so much that you cannot even feel the alcohol. However, it does affect your body in the same way. You just feel more alert when you drink it. However, you do feel the alcohol's effects on the brain. You feel the alcohol's effects on the liver. Like I said, this is my first and probably my last time I'm gonna drink this. In short, in general, I don't think you guys in the United States, at least you're not missing out on much because this reminds me so much of Four Loko that crazy. It's just identical. However, the only difference is that Four Loko had many different flavors and many juice had many flavors. However, in here, you're sort of limited to like one color, cherry or non-cherry. And like I said, essentially they're very, very, very similar all across the board. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you liked it. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Take care.